After the tarmac of Argyll, the K&C Groundworks Scottish Rally Championship returns to its spiritual home, the Forests, for round 2 of the season, the 75th running of the RSAC Scottish Rally. And with the BTRDA Championship in town, it's a stacked entry of over 120 crews, lined up behind the 5-time Scottish champion, David Bogie.
Yeah, it's good. It's just good to be back out in a rally car on gravel again. So yeah, very much looking forward to it.
Did you manage to get a test?
Yeah, we've done a few miles yesterday at Shakedown. Ideally I would have liked more, but yeah, I'm feeling good, and as I say, really looking forward to the day.
David Bogie and John Rowan, and already you can see their biggest advantage, a road clear of hanging dust. Fastest on both the opening stages, they arrived at first service with a 21-second lead. Fifth quickest on stage 1 and third quickest on 2, Jock, Armstrong and Cammy Fair grabbed an early second on their first gravel event in the Fiesta, despite being off the road 3 corners in. They were just 4 seconds ahead of Garry, Pearson and Nicol Burns, the switch to Skoda power going well, despite a stage 2 puncture.
C120, right 5 minus in, left 2 in, small crest, and rightish over flag crest, to right 2 in 40, to very long constant, left 4 in over 80, opens at the junction, 60 up, flat 2 left in 40.
Another 10 seconds back was the returning Rory Young and Alan Cathers. They were playing their usual trick of being incredibly competitive, despite not having rallied since the 2019 Galloway Hills. John Wink and Neil Shanks had started well in their I-20, entering first service tied on time with the returning Bruce McCombie and Michael Coates in their refettled Ford Focus. The Focus losing the dash readout in SS1 and shredding the alternator belt in SS2. And just 1 second back from that, Michael Binney and Claire Moll were trying out their new Evo on gravel. It was a solid start, although they were concerned about the car overheating in the dusty conditions. 11 seconds behind Binney, Niall Devine and Liam McIntyre were another Mitsubishi crew to start well, 16 seconds up on the Evo 7 of Scott Beattie and Paula Swinscoe. And rounding out the top 10, Richard Hill was adjusting to having Paul Maguire on the notes. Just 6 seconds behind Beattie and Swinscoe at first service, they were off to a solid start. 11th and topping the two-wheel drive field early on, Mark McCulloch and Michael Hendry were running well. Mark saying Michael was working doubly hard with the notes in the dust to keep the Hardy Mark II on the road. But where was the championship leader? Well, rallying can be unfair, and this time Freddie Milne was the victim. A throttle sensor failing early on, ending his rally before it could really get started.
Yeah, challenging stages, obviously. Following the two-wheel drive cars is making it quite difficult clearing the line, but I've got no risk of dust, so I'm certainly not going to complain.
Okay, to a point, okay. Just a wee bit offline, just with the left-hand drive. I think I'm just kind of scrabbling on the loose stuff, but apart from that, no. Car's fantastic. Everything's good. It's a riot. I'm enjoying it. I am.
Yeah, no, it was good. We just got a puncture in that last stage, so dropped about 25, 30 seconds, something like that. It's about 3 miles we had the puncture for, so quite hard work. But the tyres have held up really well apart from that, so we'll see how it goes this afternoon.
It's going great, actually. Yeah, it's been really good. We thoroughly enjoyed the first stage. It was really good. It was nice to get back in the car, actually. New car, and it's good, really good. A lot easier to drive, so we're really enjoying it.
Okay, we thought we had went quite steady through the first stage, and I actually felt like we could have went harder, but when I saw the time I was quite pleased, so we're just going to try and stick with that for the rest of the day.
A single run through A would make up the second loop, and it's about to shake everything up. Bogie and Rowan would take a third fastest time of the day, the Mini performing faultlessly. And now 27 seconds back, Armstrong and Fair's solid run would also continue. Staying trouble-free, Young and Cathers would move into third, 30 seconds behind their fellow Fiesta crew. But dropping to fourth, Pearson and Burns were a victim of someone else's problem. Catching a limping Callum Black in the final few miles, they lost 11 seconds to Young.
Left 1, crest, right 4.
Get away, man.
And right 2. Keep up, 3 over dip. Left 4 over crest signs, left 3 over dip. 200. To 5th over finish, didn't stop. That knew you, good man.
F***ing annoying.
Despite the continued overheating issues, Binney and Moe climbed to 5th. Devine and McIntyre would move into 6th, now 24 seconds up on Beattie and Swinscoe.
Definitely a talented driver in Scotland. Going well.
Entering the top 10 for the first time, Ian Forgan and Chris Lees were starting to get into the swing of their new R5 on gravel. They were now 14 seconds clear of McCulloch and Hendry, despite some intercom issues. Bob Adamson and Jay Nicol would also climb the ranks in this stage, just 5 seconds up on Richard Hill, the Evo suffering a puncture in this stage.
Another one with a puncture.
Front left puncture for Richard Hill.
Another one.
Wink and Shanks would retire, suffering both a puncture and throttle problems with the i20. A double puncture wouldn't help McCombie and Cootsey's mood, the Focus also retiring with mechanical dramas in second service. Lying 11th after stage 3, Keith Morris and Terry Mallon would also retire in service. Before the final loop, let's catch up with the action from the classes. There would be no C2 finishers. Brian Gourley's 205 would retire with electrical issues at the start of stage 2, and Martin Erskine would roll out of the event after catching a car and getting lost in the dust. Alan Smith and Paul Beaton would retire with a hold fuel tank. Jordan Anderson and Claire Mackenzie would take second in class and 72nd overall. Martin Crombie and Ricky Finlayson would survive a fraught day to take the C3 honours. Misfires, overheating, electrical issues, you name it, they had it over the course of the day. And the adventure wasn't over when the service van's alternator belt snapped on the way home. I think the phrase is character building.
Recovered it well.
Leading the class and Subaru Cup going into the last stage, John and Megan O'Kane would get lost in a dust cloud and fall off the road into retirement. Final class and Subaru Cup finishers were Mike Grant and Graham Kelman, another crew to suffer a tyre shredding puncture in A. Mike and Michael Motes adopted a cautious strategy to grab second in both the class and the Subaru Cup. And taking the class and the Andrew Wood Motorsports Subaru Cup honours, Michael Renton and John Shepheard were happy at the finish. It wasn't all plain sailing. Trapped in the previous car's dust all day, the car would overheat in SS4, causing the engine to go into limp mode for the rest of the event.
What's that? Tightens the 5 over here. C50. Right 6 over crest, tighten right 4. Watch it, watch it. Down in here, there you go.
Dave and Jamie Forrest would take the H1 honours and 48th overall. Ian and Don Milne would retire in SS4. After not even making the start line in Argyll, Ernie and Patricia Lee were happy to see the finish this time out.
Patricia sitting beside him. Quite tidy around there, Ernie.
Nicely done from the Ellen-based crew.
Third in class, Andy Kelly and Roy Campbell spent the day catching cars. A puncture in A didn't help things, but Andy was very happy with how the car ran all event. Tom Coftry and Ian Fraser would take second in class and 51st overall in the Gallant. David Brown and Steve Bealby would take the H2 win and 39th overall. Niall Cowan Sr. and Chris Wareham were out in their unique MG3, but unfortunately the engine was off song all day, restricting their performance. They would take second in class behind Niall Cowan Jr. and Callum Shanks, the older MG running very smoothly in its cruise home forests. Niall and Callum really enjoying the return to gravel on their way to a class win.
60, right 5 in. So right 5 in, 120. To left 4, no cut. Into long right 1 over 70. And C70 after. To unseen bridge bump left 3. And right 2 in, 100.
Two of the stars in Argyll, Keith Riddick and Ewan Tyndall, would both roll out of the event. Having never driven left-hand drive or front-wheel drive competitively before, it was a baptism of fire for Richard Stewart. Out in one of a pair of new 208 R4s, Richard spent the day learning on his way to second in class. Jim Sharp and Charlotte McDowell would take second in class and 83rd overall. An early puncture for Paddy Munro and David O'Brien would damage the Mark II suspension, leaving them limping the entire day. Paddy drawing on all his mechanical sympathy to nurse the car home to a class win. Bobby Mitchell and Craig Wallace had a miserable day out with 3 punctures on their way to second in class. Taking the class win by 2 minutes and the junior win, Johnny Mackay and Emily Easton Page bounced back well from their Argyll roll. Staying out of trouble and crucially puncture free was the key to success for the Fiesta crew. Roo Campbell would retire early on with clutch failure. Alistair Brearley and Paul Barbett would round out the M6 finishers in 65th overall. Paul Thompson and Callum Atkinson would take 4th in class and 41st overall. Jim Robertson and Paul Gribben were happy with 3rd in class, Jim finding the extra power of the new BDG engine harder to get used to than he thought. And just 1 second ahead of the Escort, Stephen and Mary Wood were trying their rebuilt Fiesta on gravel for the first time. Second in class was a solid result after their Argyll roll. Jamie McIntyre and Stephen Brown would take second in class and 30th overall at the finish. The only blemish was a front puncture in SS3. Both Jan Budge and Oren McDonnell would fail to finish. Paul Collins and Robert Wood would finish 6th in class and 3rd in the Subaru Cup, Paul saying he both loved and hated the event after a tough day. Car 46 would finish 46th overall, Duncan Campbell and Michael Cruikshank taking 5th in class. 23 seconds up the road came Graham Sherry and Ewan Lees, another crew to struggle in the hanging dust, particularly later in the day, after an early intermittent misfire was cured at service. Another 22 seconds ahead were Matt Calderwood and Phil Sandham, disappointed to lose 3 minutes on the final stage with a puncture and stopping several times due to hanging dust. 29th overall and second in class, Chris Colley and Gary McDonald were back in an Impreza. There was the usual Colley pre-event drama when they discovered a hole in the fuel tank on the Friday. A 6-hour shift would sort it, and they were rewarded with a good finish. One minute and 43 seconds up the road, Ian Baumgart and Dave Robson would take their second class win of the year and 23rd overall. Kevin Downs and Richard Wardle would retire after SS3. John Rintoul and Ross Hind would retire after this ordeal at the hairpin in A.
Oh, come on. Struggling to start. Oh, just winding and winding and winding. No, doesn't look like this is going to start. Hopefully they'll maybe get find it, manage to get it going. They've got it going. There must have been something fairly straightforward. Possibly the car was just too hot. Yeah, the guys are just getting ready to go. Hopefully it won't be too long and they'll be back on their way. It's maybe cost them a couple of minutes here. The only problem we've got now is a wee bit of shunting to get back out of where they were. To see John Rintoul and Ross Hind on their way there.
Running in the top 10 all day, Niall Devine and Liam McIntyre unfortunately would retire in SS4. Championship sponsor Kevin Crawford and co-driver Andrew Stevenson endured a tough day, and time-consuming stall in SS2 set the tone and was followed by this tyre change in SS3. They would finish 6th in class.
Some rear damage here.
Oh no.
I wonder if a check.
Oh no, he's got a puncture. He's got a puncture. It looks like they're going to carry on.
No. Game over, I think, Andrew.
No, I think hopefully he's going to fix it. Yeah, they're going to get out. Navigator Andrew's out there like a flash. He's making Andrew do all the work. As a good driver should make a Navigator. That tyre looks pretty wrecked. Kevin will not be impressed that we've caught all this on camera.
Looks like just about 3 minutes Kevin's lost with that puncture. The time we stop, get it changed and back away.
Yeah, as they go, they're on their way.
5th in class would go to Aileen and John Forrest, a vast improvement on their Argyll retirement. Catching cars all day, Willie Patterson and Tom Hind would take 4th in class at the finish. Hugh Brunton and Drew Sturrock would retire in SS1 with suspension damage. 12th in the SRC, Bob Adamson and Jane Nicol produced their best performance so far in the Fiesta.
6 right into 5 left over crest, only 60 to late 3 left. To late 3 left. And hairpin right. So hairpin right there, hairpin. And slight left on crest into 5 right following the tree line. 80, 3 left at the end. So 3 left there and 5 right, 40. Very long, 5 left through the dip.
11th SRC went to Ian Wilson and Chris Williams. Having announced they were going to take a break from rallying after the Scottish, they were determined to enjoy themselves. A couple of punctures didn't help, but they would take the M7 win and 3rd two-wheel drive. Hopefully, we see them back in the future. Taking the M3 win and really impressing, Peter Stewart and Harry Marchbank were debuting the other new 208 R4. The 1.2 litre turbocharged machine absolutely charging all day to take the class, second two-wheel drive and an Albion Garage Challengers win, along with 10th in the SRC. Definitely a car and crew to watch for the rest of the year. Climbing back up to 9th after their puncture, Richard Hill and Paul Maguire would also take 3rd in Class M9, maintaining Richard's class points lead. Two punctures over the last loop stymied any further progress for Beattie and Swinsko, dropping them 2 places. 8th in the SRC was still an excellent result for the Evo 7, although they missed out on 7th by just 1 second. 7th in the two-wheel drive win went to McCulloch and Hendry. Mark really happy with getting through the rally puncture-free and praising Michael for an excellent job on the notes. The Mark II now sitting 2nd in the overall SRC standings.
And have a fairly clean run ourselves. So, yeah.
Good. So you've both enjoyed it, Nicol? You enjoyed it?
Yeah, it was good. Challenging event, but drove really well. Just kept it going, nice and neat, and it was paid off. The times was good, so happy.
6th on their gravel R5 debut was an excellent result for Ian Forgan and Chris Lees. Definitely another one to watch as they get used to the new car. 5th in the M9 win, Binny and Mo were forced to run most of the final loop without anti-lag to aid with the overheating issues. Michael saying the new car is excellent on the gravel and will be even better once these issues are solved. Rory Young and Alan Cathers would enter the final stage in 3rd, but unfortunately for them, they weren't able to hold back the Fabia of Pearson and Burns. The Fiesta a solid 4th. Fighting back after the SS3 setback, Pearson and Burns would charge over the last stage, turning a 5-second deficit into an 8-second advantage. It was a wild ride, Garry saying the tyres were well past their best. 3rd overall was a great result after their Argyll disappointment.
Right 1 and long left 5 and right 2 in over crest OK. C6 860 to left 5 in, commit.
Yeah, I think it's been a day for us, ups and downs, to be honest with you. I mean, first stage we were 3 down on David, and that was a really good start, and then punctured in 2, lost a considerable chunk of time, and then caught some dust on 3, catching 2 cars. So, and then we really kind of pushed on in the 4th stage, had another nice time in there, and then the last one, to be fair, we kind of gubbed our tyres in 4, so we just kind of cruised on the last one as much as we could, but just pipped 3rd in the last stage, so that was a good day all in all, but I've had easier days in the office.
Taking a 2nd consecutive 2nd overall, Jock, Armstrong and Cammy Fair were happy with their day's work. Jock still needing to work on his road positioning with left-hand drive, but was happy with this progress. This result moves them into the SRC points lead after 2 rounds. And dominating the event with 5 stage wins out of 5, Bogie and Rowan would finish 58 seconds clear of the field. David breaking Roger Clark's record of 6 wins on the Scottish with a 7th triumph. David himself saying that road position at the front of the 4-wheel drives made a huge difference with the lack of dust.
It's been a great day. Obviously nice to get the clean sweep as well with the stages, so no, good. Credit to the boys, car's been fantastic, tyres been good, John's been good, and it allows me to try and drive fast, so it's been a good day.
It was great to get back into the forest again. It's been, a couple of years since we've been in the forest, so it was really nice to get back in, and just want to thank all the marshals and all for standing out there. A long day for them, and we really appreciate it, so we've had a great day.
So Bogie and Rowan bounced back from their Argyll retirement with a win in the Mini. Next up is the Grampian, where the Scottish Championship regulars will be joined by the British Rally Championship contenders.